that's a pretty cool thing. That's pretty exciting.
Definitely is. Well, more exciting now. Let's take a look at our maps. So once we know which map we're going to be on, then we can toss to you, Jess, and kind of talk a bit more about that. Don't worry. You always get your limelight on the stage. No worries. So we'll put up that map ban graphic on the board, and you'll see the Giants will go for the first ban. Electrify have the final decision between Cafe and Villa, two very technical maps. Again, this requires a lot of teamwork and I said utility work to really nail them down. And it looks like we're going to see Villa again tonight. Not the first time, of course. And yeah, Giants, looking at this, Jess, how do they fare on Villa in general, and more specifically against a team with definitely doesn't have as much experience in Electrify the Giants?
I was looking over my notes before about Giants, and there's not a lot on them very recently for Villa. So really don't want to be dragging the stats back too far, because then you start to get a little bit wishy-washy. Is this really the same team as it was, 6+ months ago? Probably not. So I'm not going to drag that in too much, but I think given how we saw Giants go up against Fnatic the last Playday, especially on Clubhouse, 8-6, it was close, but they showed that they could beat out other Giants as well. So I think we should look out for them, their tactics and the way that they can pinch quite well. That's something to look out for with Giants, I think.
All right, let's take a look at what people thought about this game at home. You can, of course, go and on social media vote for these matches. You can go, you have the ticker right under us there. It's vote for next match and at R6 Esports APAC, and it's 76% for Giants to the 24% of Electrify. Wow. Not surprising given the fact that, Giants have so much experience in general and compared to most people in the region. But Gio, you look at Electrify, you look at Giants in their history, even recently, what do Electrify need to bring on Villa to shut down a team like Giants?
Well, it's interesting because one of the things that Electrify proved that they were pretty good at is being object focused. They managed to make 3 plants in a row on some of their really successful attack rounds. And actually, a lot of their weak spots were based around their entry player, Ray, who typically has actually had really good stats in the past and didn't have such a great game the other day. So if they can remain being objective focused and staying kind of tactical, thinking about those sorts of things, as well as hopefully having a little bit of better performance from that entry player, then I think they should be able to provide quite a lot of pressure onto Giants, who are going to have to think about things a lot more when going up against them.
And since you say that, I'm just going to stop you right there. Any sort of scoreline that you expect in the end of it, or a winner?
Given that we've had a pattern today of 7-2, 7-2, 8-6, 8-6, now we've had a 7-4. I want to say 7-4. I don't know who to, though. I'm going to say Giants purely because they're a little bit more proven.
Jess, quick point. Agree, disagree?
I'm going to agree, but I think Electrify, I'm hoping they put rounds on the board because they've seen a bit shaky. They're a bit new as well, so we'll see how they go against Giants.
All right, Giants, Electrify. Let's see if Electrify have what it takes for it. We'll see you in the game. Caster's all yours.
Cheers there, Milish and the guys. We're back on the casting desk. It is Dev and Des, your favorite duo, or not. I don't know. I don't really judge. That's fine. You can have any favorite. That's fine. Des, we have the underdogs in Electrify from Chinese Taipei versus the Overlords, who won the Season 10 of the APAC Pro League. It looks like it might be a pretty cut and dried match, but if Electrify taught us anything 2 nights ago, it's that maybe we shouldn't underestimate them.
Oh, underestimating them was the biggest mistake I made the other day. I mean, anyone will be forgiven 3 rounds in to look at it and go, they have been flawless every single round. In the 4th round, they got a single kill, and it was the same output with Scars charging their way through. And I thought, this game's done. It's 7-0, surely. And then somehow, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around how they fight their way back in, and suddenly everyone is now thinking, okay, these guys aren't to be trifled with. There is something about them, but can they do it against one of the best in the region in the form of Giants? That is the big question. If they win here today, suddenly there is going to be a lot of hype around this team.
And Lunar Metal from Giants 2 nights ago after the Electrify game said, I thought we were the kings of recovery after throws, but Electrify is the real deal. Now, that's high praise coming from an APAC champion and someone as prestigious as Luna. So Electrify, big Electrify, oh my goodness, Electrify. Electrify. Well, maybe they're going to fly right over the Giants, but it is quite a huge opponent that they have to come up against. So we'll see how this is going to pan out. I like this from Electrify. Just get rid of that Montagne. You don't want to play that. If Electrify were watching Giants just the other day. Luna Metal loves that Montaigne, who used it really well against Fnatic, and is kind of notorious for using it. So, smart move there. And Electrify definitely don't want to come up against that monstrosity.
A lot of teams have been banning it away against him. Well, in the last 2 games we've seen, at least, it has been banned away against him. We alluded earlier on to kind of the giants of the world, not quite in team name, but in terms of the giants around the world of the Monty players. And you said yourself, Luna's definitely the one from APAC, I think, that steps up in that regard. Mirror being banned away here. I spoke about this a little bit in the last map with Hap, saying that we don't see it banned away in a whole ton here in the region, as maybe you might do in other regions around the world. But where we have seen it, it does definitely get used. It's not a catch-22 of do we use it because we haven't prepped with it, assuming it'd be banned. It's actually wrapped in. And a very interesting ban coming out here in the form of the Mute. We've seen a lot of teams in APAC using it as a roamer, normally paired up with something like a castle to try and cause some trouble around the map. I think here it's often to ban away the ability to cause a complete and utter intel blackout for the attackers, because the Mute and the Mozzie is just a little bit too much to deal with when you haven't got a Thatcher on side.
Yeah, wow. Mute, very, very common operator in this meta, but not a very common ban. You do see it crop up every now and then. As you mentioned, Mute is so good for that information denial. But what's great about Mute is he gets 4 jammers. 1 jammer could jam a doorway, so no drones can go through, or it could jam 2 reinforced walls. And when Thatcher's banned, both wall denial and information denial are paramount for the defense. So Giants getting rid of that might throw off Electrify a little bit. It's an unusual ban, not something you see every day, and Electrify are going to have to roll with the punches here.
It's going to be hard. I mean, I'm with you in one sense, right? They will have to roll with the punches, but equally what we've seen out of APAC a lot is that attackers generally have ruled the roost. It has been a attacker-sided meta for these guys, or at least kind of game style that we have seen where, like I'll always say, for every region around the world, defenders will tend to determine how a round is played, i.e. where the focus is, what the objective is. It's attackers that will determine the pace. So here it's down to Electrify. Do they want to play a nice passive game and take their time with things and worry about opening up angles, having people holding them, dealing with the utility coming out the other side, or do they want to force this game like we saw at Cloud9 in their last game against Q Confirm, of saying, you know what, you are too slow and you cannot keep up with our pace. This is where I feel the attackers have quite a lot of flexibility here in APAC, and it's really exciting to see because teams can just do things in such different ways.
If you don't mind my segue, another thing that's going to give the attackers a lot of flexibility is a lack of wall denial operators from Giants. Banning out the Mute and opting to not bring a Bandit or a Kaid means that Electrify will have, for the most part, free reign of these reinforced walls with their Hibana. Of course, to note that Luna Metal may well have impact grenades. I'm not quite sure. Medics, can we grab that extended overlay? Oh, thank you. In fact, I was right. Luna Metal does have those impact grenades, so we're going to be relying on those in order to destroy any X-Kairos placed on the walls in study. But for now, it seems like Electrify is mounting a primarily vertical focused push with the Buck and Ash downstairs. And Luna does have to be cautious, especially while on his observation tool, that he doesn't get naded or shot from below.
Already seen doing some work here to start finding what they can to get inside of the site. And 60 seconds in to be already kind of waging a war against study walls. Definitely not a bad spot to be in. Hysterics will bring down Pikachu. I'm going to call him. I love it. It's after my namesake as well. What a man after my own heart. But at 4 and 4 apiece here inside about 75 seconds, it's not really bad progress for either side, I'd say. Attackers have started making their moves, but equally the defenders are willing to bite back. And Hysterics finds a huge double for himself. Ray a little late on the trade there. Will get it back across, but it's not the end of the world. It's still a 3 versus 2. But Electrify are in a spot, I feel, where they can still make some magic happen here. You've got to be so worried, though, of the smoke and those canisters that still remain. All 3 are still on side.
This Hibana pellet opened up an angle to expose those positions behind the bar, but Ed can't really use it. Very vulnerable if he tries to push into study, exposed to multiple angles. Ray attempts to help out his teammate, who's taking a lot of damage. That's Ed. But of course they do regroup. Those Grishmont mines make things a little bit slower for them. But there's a whole minute remaining. Ysera seems pretty keen here. He's going to peek these feet holes. Luna Metal providing the team with so much information. Of course, Ed also low on HP, but that's the Evil Eye dispatched with. But there's a nice cheeky angle there from Speakeasy to find one. Now choked out, all up to Ray. Found 2 kills so far. We'll have to ace up to win this, but it ain't going to happen. Ysera finds one, and that's Giants to lock it out for the first round.
I liked from Electrify we saw some pace at the start. They weren't being afraid, hanging back and spending forever set on drones. They did enough work to know what needed to be done and focused on getting that study wall opened up. And that angle that you saw come through for a second there is really nice because you can crouch down and essentially divide games rooms completely in half. See anyone playing around by the snooker table, it's a lot more uncomfortable to sit and hold the right locations. Unfortunately, you've seen Luna coming through with the disconnects. We'll have a rehost coming through here. We're back on screen once again. You get to see our wonderful faces. Only one round in, not a whole ton to unpack there, but at least we're seeing Electrify are turning up here to play.
Yeah, I'm curious to see as the game progresses how this reinforced wall denial kind of breaching interaction is going to play out, because as we mentioned, that mute got jammed out, that mute got banned out, and Giants were relying mostly on those impact grenades, and by the end of it, it was actually like the wall didn't really get properly open. There was no actual entryway onto site. Now, I didn't happen to see whether the Ox Kairos were deployed and then destroyed, or whether it was just that Ed didn't manage to have time. But I think that's going to be really important, especially once we flip sides and Electrify's on the defense. If they're not so good at impact tricking and they don't bring the Kaid or the Bandit, or they aren't effective with either of those, then Giants will have free reign of any hard breach that they wish.
We've seen it quite a few times, especially in places like the UK as well. Actually, isn't even exclusive to EU as a whole, where you'll bring a thermite, and your whole goal is to put the extra thermite down on the ground next to the games room wall, and you do open up a Habana-shaped hole at the very, very bottom. It isn't enough to walk through. You can crouch through. It's not super ideal, but it's enough that you can disrupt the defenders and make them squirm a little bit. They're not super comfortable behind the bar. All it's going to take is you to swing right out towards the right side of study, and you can lie down and find those that are playing in behind the bar inside of games. And that is the go-to anchor spot inside that room. As soon as that's opened up in any capacity, even with a single little peek hole, it's no longer safe to play in that position. So again, I like that Electrify at least had the focus to be able to achieve that. It was just the frags unfortunately fell the way of Giants as that round progressed. But a lot of the frags we saw coming through were actually off-site.
Yes, I think it was 2 roamers just kind of playing static around living downstairs from Giants, not really heavily contesting that piano presence, that kind of vertical attempt from Electrify. And you'd think, well, if Electrify are playing downstairs and Giants have roamers down there, surely they'd hunt for those kills. But I think for the most part, they were waiting till later in the round, and Giants weren't too concerned about that vertical pressure. You could see Luna, the maestro who was playing on site, he wasn't too worried about getting shot from below. But as we progress forward, one of the operator picks that I'm going to keep an eye on is for Giants, that Ella. An operator that's not super on meta, but Giants have always loved it. They always brought it, whether it's Scorpion or whether it's the FO12 shotgun. It's an operator that they love, and it really puts a thorn in the side of teams that like to play aggressive off of entries, because those Grishmots, as we saw when Ed was pushing up the brown stairs, or Ray rather was pushing up the brown stairs last round, it can really disrupt those entries and make those attackers feel a bit more uncomfortable. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that in a few more rounds here.
Dining and kitchen going to be our next point of defense, and I'm looking at this lineup and wondering if we're going to see 4 C4s being brought along by the side of Giants here. Would be quite terrifying to face off against. On the attacking side, they are definitely equipped to deal with this. I would expect to see maybe IQ or Zofia with the breach charges. Then you have the Ash and the Zofia on side as well to deal with that. In fact, there are none. Both have gone for the Claymore, so they are relying solely on the Sledge here to be doing work. Let's play he doesn't get caught by one of the 3 C4s they've brought. Instead, Jordan is bringing along those new shiny gadgets in the proximity alarms.
A great point there with the Sledge. If he does get taken out by one of the 3 C4s, well, got to be very careful of that.
You got 3 chances.
Will be... Exactly, right? Electrify is going to be so short on utility to breach that soft floor if that happens. Another thing, little fun fact for you, Jordan, it's his birthday today. He is 19 years old.
Jordan.
5 seconds
Happy birthday, Jordan.
I thought for a second you said he was 90, and I was like, I have a word.
90? Yeah, oldest
He's an
player
old man.
in the... Yeah. Oldest
Still
player in
down with
APAC
the
North
kids.
League.
Still able to gun like the best.
Yeah, well, another thing to point out, you mentioned the utility game earlier in that soft breach. If Electrify intend to use any breaching rounds from the Ash or the Lifeline explosives from the Zofia on that floor, well, that's less utility to use against the Goyo Vulcan shield, so another thing to be cautious of. But first pick actually goes the way of Electrify. Getting a bit too aggressive is Hysterics, caught out downstairs, rotating near the piano hallway.
Indeed, that is the Valk gone. I mean, it's not the worst loss in the world now. Those black eye cameras were all deployed, and he did burn a very aggressive C4 in towards Art Studio, I believe, trying to catch the attackers on their entry in towards the building. Pikachu sadly had the flank and was a little too quick for him there. A bit of a quick attack, some might say, to dispatch of his opponent. That is one C4 done and removed. There are still 2 more to deal with, and we put a lot of stress on them because they can be so impactful. And Pikachu, once again, strikes big. This is his round. My God, let's go.
That's the 2 key fraggers for Giants as well that were taken off the board nice on and early. That said, like you mentioned, not a huge miss for utility. That C4 from Hysterics is a bit of a missed opportunity, and so is this from Luna. Eventually does find that kill onto Pikachu. Cautious of the refrag, but it does come out from Ed. Good on him to secure that kill onto Luna, who will now have to IGL from the observation tool. Just 2 players left for Giants. Not an impossible situation, but Jordan and Ysera will both have to step up big.
It will, yeah. They managed to get into a spot where they're still rotating up and down here. There's never been a point of single vertical control coming out of the side of Electrify. Not that it matters, because the earlier work done from Pikachu, plus the trade that came back in after, forces them into a very uncomfortable 2-man situation. It's all down to Electrify to close things out from there. So as we alluded to at the start, this is definitely not a team to be trifled with. You may not have heard of them before, but they mean business.
Indeed, Electrify doesn't have a very profound legacy at all. Quite a contrast to Giants, who have been around for literally years, since the inception of Rainbow Six Esports. Prior to the Pro League in APAC, these guys went to Six Invitational in 2017, which is something I like to remind everyone. These guys were the APAC team on PC to go to Six Invitational, the original. And in contrast, Electrify, a team that came through the Chinese Taipei qualifier, which is not the most competitive region or sub-region or nationality, I suppose. Depends on how you want to spin it, right? But Electrify have made an impact here with that comeback against Scars 2 days ago, and then holding their own, at least for now, against Giants. Definitely not one to be underestimated, despite the critiques of them coming into this league.
It's a nice thing for Giants, right? They've been involved in everything in APAC, really, since its inception. Season 8, Season 9, Season 10. They even finding themselves as one of the top teams, although in a show match at the Classics announcement day, where we had them in the game against Wildcard as well. So very much so a representation of what is great about APAC and what it is, how the history it kind of exists all behind it. Absolutely agree with you. This is kind of one of those tests I see coming up against a team like Electrify, kind of the new blood versus the old. As you said, the underdogs versus the overlords. Are Giants still at the level where they can still dominate the competition, or is in this new age of Siege where we have a whole new format and regions are all starting to cross over? Can they still shine as brightly as they once did? That's the big question I think everyone is waiting to see out of these boys this season. You could even argue the same for teams like Norengo, who although had a very good time at SI 2019, the last year for them has been a bit of a slippery slope, while other teams have kind of stepped up and looked to step into the void that they left behind.
Very much so. And another thing to keep in mind here, not only is this an underdog story for Electrify, but a dark horse. Not a lot of teams know very much about these guys. They're not a prominent team. If you look at their results, I mean, I was doing research, and there's the qualifier, which you can kind of count, I guess, where they play like a best-of-5 series, but it's so different to the kind of Siege that these other teams play. And of course, there were some roster shuffles after that as well since the Chinese Taipei qualifier. So really, if Giants are looking for VODs to review, it's mostly just Electrify's match against Scars from 2 days ago.
I guess that's the element of surprise that you bring into these games, right? Is no one knows much about you. No one's seen anything about what it is you like to do and how you like to play. So it is a learning experience for all as we go along, unless, of course, there have been a lot of scrims leading into this tournament. I know that a great number of teams in preparation for the leagues in every single region had that sort of focus. And if you're wondering why we're waffling on around the kind of grand context of all this, it's because it has been a pretty calm round so far. No one has died inside the first 90 seconds, in stark contrast to what we have seen in the previous 2. But we all know what that means. Normally when it's quiet for the first half, the second half is absolutely explosive.
That's because so far Electrify has been playing fairly slow. They know that Giants do like to play quite aggressively, and so they've been playing passive and holding angles in the meanwhile. Remember, this is a statuary bomb site, and Ray to find the opening once again, always so eager in those opening engagements, and does find Speakeasy. Bit too overconfident there. Still trying to clear out the bottom floor is Electrify, but meanwhile there is some presence upstairs as well. But Hysterics to find 1 kill and get aggressive off of it. How do you find that one? That's the diffuser down. Giants spring into action. It's all on triple lift. Had a big round, just one round ago, but Giants are hungry for this one.
Always turns into C4 at the end. We spoke about him earlier on, but it only has to come out at the end to make an impact. Great round from Giants, namely down to Hysterics and the play that he had. It was kind of one of those rounds where it becomes less about the objective, but more about the kills that you can find down on the ground floor where everyone seemed to be gathering. So maybe being conscious of the want or the desire to play vertically from the side of Giants. Electrify weren't dissuaded, wanted to try and fight it, but didn't quite find a clean opportunity to get in and find any kills. It was Hysterics who was blessed with that privilege. And despite a quiet first half, it definitely ended in explosive nature going the way of Giants. Round number 4, we will go back down to Dining and Kitchen, as we didn't see that succeed last time around. So rather than following the rotation of 3 sites over and over, as most teams will do, we are going to see them return and try and mix things up a bit and maybe leave Electrify guessing on exactly where it is they're going to.
You'd think that triple lift would be at least 50% better than double lift, but so far, absolutely not the AD carry that Electrify needs.
Excellent. I appreciate that reference. My man.
I'm just glad we got some of the fantastic names we get here in APAC.
I mean, personally, I'm a bit of a leaner towards Pikachu, just saying.
I know, you're a bit of a...
Obvious reasons.
Yeah, a bit of an anime
The namesake,
fanatic.
bro. That's the anime. How dare you? Pokemon has transcended the domain of anime. Come on. Pokemon's a bit more than that.
Pop culture, I should say.
Pop culture, I'll take that.
fan.
I'll take pop culture.
All right.
Number of C4s. We can count 3. Same as before. Didn't really see any connects. We saw Hysterics burning his quite early down towards Art Studio in an attempt to find a kill on this side a couple of rounds ago, but then was very quickly traded out by Pikachu, who went on to find a double, if we all recall rightly. They did ultimately go on to lose that round due to those small kind of isolated issues, dare I say, for Giants. Trying to be a bit aggressive and trying to kind of upset Electrify before they could get towards the building itself, or at least inside the building, and really trying to take a foothold. However, Electrify definitely bit back and reminded them that there is a reason why they are here and why you need to be very mindful of them. This time around, probably going to see him pay a little more attention to what it is these guys are doing and not to get too aggressive. You can see Luna giving a bit of intel over towards the IQ. I'm wondering here, actually, I really doubt he has. Probably the IQ hasn't had a chance to get on that scanner and identify that a Pulse is playing inside of this room.
There's such a lackluster presence on site. Giants really favoring that roam. And Pikachu's going to take advantage of that and just head straight on into Dining. Luna, where are you?
Damn.
Triple Lift finds the opening engagement once again, and just things explode onto the bomb site. Giants to hold, at least for now, but Jordan has been downed. 2 players still off-site for Giants, and now Jordan finished off. Sarah and Speakeasy need to ensure that they're close enough to support their captain, who's currently sitting pretty by himself in Dining.
Luna's doing quite a lot of work inside here as well, although I was like, well, he hasn't seen the IQ earlier on. He does see him a bit later on to find a kill onto him, and he's still holding now in the same position, being able to see everything that is happening around him down on towards the south side of these sites. Vertical play has been limited so far for the side of Electrify, dare I say, though. They have this sledge on side, but it's never really been a focus for them. I would like to see them start taking some control of that and restricting the movements of people like the Pulse. But there are still 2 C4s on side, so despite all the fighting they've done downstairs, Giants have done well to hold on to this utility for the right amount of time here and may find another critical opportunity to close the round out with the C4, as they did do in round number 3.
Poor Luna Metal on site all by himself, but trusting in his teammates to support him as needed. Speakeasy and Ysera upstairs both, but Electrify clearly prioritizing this horizontal push. They don't want to engage the 2 players upstairs. They want to identify the weakest link, and they think that's Luna, but Speakeasy is going to help out by taking out Ray before Ed can trade it back. 2 versus 3, make that a 1 versus 3. All on Ysera, historically such a great player in the APAC region, but he's not good enough. And Triple Lift to close that one out. Maybe he is the AD carry that we deserved.
Peeks it once, peeks it twice, and oh, there was someone there, and by that time he's already got a few bullets through his head, and he is dead. Good ending closeout from Electrify there, as you say. I think they just knew that they were being relatively static on site and didn't need to worry too much about any crazy hijinks as the round came down to its conclusion. Electrify sat at 2-2, and I'm pretty sure coming into this, people would have said, you know, Giants, they are one of these teams, formerly known as Airwolf, that have been at the top for so long. They have a solid lineup that is one of the oldest core player or set of core players in the game. And you would expect this new blood to maybe not do so well against them. Well, they are definitely stacking up against these overlords, as you called them, Dev.
Yeah. Giants trying to do a fairly complicated hold, really relying on Luna on site. And to be fair, Luna Metal did manage to put a stop to that early aggression from Pikachu, but overall, in the late round and the mid round, Electrify able to isolate those roamers, and every kill that it seems Giants get is met with a trade by Electrify. One thing to note is that every single round, Electrify has won the opening engagement. Giants have had Jordan die first, Hysterics, then Speakeasy, and then Hysterics again. Particularly those two last players, Speakeasy and Hysterics, get aggressive really early on. I think they need to be maybe a little bit more cautious, as they are landing their team in an early deficit every single round so far.
And I think part of that comes down to the style of play they want to go for, right? We're seeing this kind of these different styles coming out of several APAC teams. One where they are more about, let's sit behind utility, play more the EU style of play, and others where they are looking actually to disrupt what the attackers want to do before they get the chance to get comfortable. And we've seen this out of teams already today. If you do give attackers too much time to get set up and ready for an execute and you haven't bothered to try and contest them, they will punish you for it. So maybe a few lessons for the rest of the world to take away here in these varying defensive styles that, you know, playing safe isn't always the way to go. Sometimes kind of sticking your neck out on the line a bit and saying we want to take these fights and try and shut them down is the way to go, because despite losing those opening fraggers a couple of times, Giants have still got a spot where they've got 2 rounds on the board, although maybe there is a question again around whether they dial it back in here and say, you know what, we are confident we can win with our many years of experience, our superior knowledge, you might argue, and use that to our advantage here. But as it stands right now, it's all about the aggression in the early round.
For Electrify, once again, the same kind of strategy, this vertical pressure. But this time, if you recall previously, Giants had a lot of players roaming that did engage the Electrify near the start, but seems to be tides have turned. We do have Jordan playing the castle. I believe he set up some castle barricades around the master side. Yes, indeed. And Hysterics as well in Astro. So Giants have realized Electrify are primarily taking the bottom floor. Instead of roaming down there, let's roam up the top. And that way, Electrify, they can take the bottom floor. But if they want to actually start to flank up on the north side of the map or take from Brownstairs, we have presence, we have dominance across all of that area. And Electrify will waste time by trying to take that off of us.
It seems really interesting, I agree. The setup they've gone for is not so much unconventional. We do see castle barricades used up towards master bedrooms sometimes to provide safe rotates in and out of master without being shot from the window, because there's a castle barricade on the internal window. But right now, they're just bypassing a lot of this and instead looking to go directly down towards the south. So arguably some wasted utility up to the north here might come back to sting them. But as it stands, it's Giants the ones who are stinging back. They've already got rid of the hard breaches. They've now got rid of the Zofia and the IQs off the table. There are only 2 left here, and it's a lot to do for Electrify Field to try and get a plant down here in a 2 versus 5.
Struggling so much, and this may well be a near flawless round. Flash says, nope, I mean, at least get one, but I just don't see this being possible. There's 1 versus 4. Now, mind you, okay, Jordan's going to give away his life for free, and 2 players from Giants are really low. So, look, I hate to be over-dramatic here, but Flash has a definitive chance here in this round. 30 seconds is a decent amount of time. Maybe a lucky nade over the top could net him something. Nothing so far. Oh, Lunar Metal, you're going to harass him with that Evil Eye. Just trying to bait out the shots, but Sledgehammer will deal with that. No diffuser in hand. 15 seconds. 3 players to find. What's he got for us? Any gas left in the tank? No, the gas is to stop him from entering. Low on HP now, and the Evil Eye to harass him. Giants aren't going to let him on their turf. And they do lock out the round. It was nearly flawless. Maybe there was a chance there for Flash, but Giants said, look, we're no fools. We ain't going to let you in.
Absolutely not. You can see why there was focus earlier on. The focus was in getting open that study wall with the hard breach so they can push that guy out from behind bar. And that at least gives you some comfort in getting inside the room that you aren't going to get pre-fired at the same time from Vault and from behind the bar. But in that case, with Hibanda dying downstairs nice and early, Electrify could never really get started there with their setup. And this is what I spoke about. From the side of Giants, they like to get up in the faces of Electrify and say, you know what, you want to play that strat? Not this round, buddy. Back to bed you go, and there's just no way of being able to execute what they want. An interesting change coming out of them here is going to be that the KV being put on side for the final round. This to me just screams that they are sick and tired of trying to deal with these roamers that are giving them so many issues in the early round. Shut them down and put more of a focus on site is definitely the plan. How successful it's going to be, that's anyone's guess.
Bombs from being defused by attackers.
And a nice little added benefit of the Dokkaebi is that if you can manage to get an early pick, which I will add, has happened 4 out of the 5 rounds so far. Electrify has got that opening pick. If you manage to get that pick, maybe on a roamer in a safe spot, you can hack cams. You'll get access to the Valkyrie cams from Hysterics. You're also going to force any Maestro players. In this case, there isn't a Maestro, but Lunar Metal was definitely potent on that in the previous round. Any Maestro players will be forced off their cameras and not able to use their Evil Eye. So I like this adaptation from Electrify. May not be effective, but we'll have to wait and see.
5 seconds
It's always that worry of trying something new in the final round as well. Is that you can't really adapt it the next time round. This is the first time they've opted to use this operator, and I appreciate it. It's not like it's a drastic change. It's more of a kind of added assistance when trying to deal with these roamers. On the side of the defenders for Giants, this isn't really all that much to change. Trophy is actually going to be where this site is based, and I'm curious to know, actually, I'm not quite sure if Speakeasy has set himself up inside of the closet, because with no Thatcher on side, it should be pretty comfortable to set up with those Ellas, get yourself locked inside a closet, and as soon as someone tries to contest you, you get them down.
Hysterix once again playing aggressive early round. Ray did spot him out previously, but decides to ignore, looking to push up through Pantry. Once again, this is a defense of the top floor statuary trophy, but Giants are extending their hold downstairs, as we are familiar with on their previous defense. Speakeasy nearby, able to rotate downstairs. Look at this, an absolute Swiss cheese of a wall for Speakeasy to peek on through. Sarah also to support, heavy roaming presence from Giants. Ed spots out Speakeasy's cheeky little setup, and that logic bomb does ring out true. But of course, Hysterix was also on the roam once again. Yasera to find that opening there. There is a trade, however. It's Hysterix who goes down, and we're net even here between these teams.
Yeah, Swiss cheese is more like playing whack-a-mole, right? Which holes are you going to peek me from now? Which one of the bullets going to come out of next? It's a pistol that has to come out for Speakeasy to bring down Ed. Elsewhere, it's Ray trading one back onto Yasera. It's a 3 versus 3, and there are still 90 seconds left in the round, so there's no big rush here for the attackers. Take a breather for a second, get back on those drones. You've still got most of them alive and on the field with 2 in the back pocket. Get them out and start finding out where these defenders are before we try and go for that closing push.
Another point is that Giants don't have any C4s, and they're roaming. So their roamers can't be super effective if you just aggressively hit site. In fact, there's no one watching that red stairs side push. Triple lip to find one, that's Speakeasy. But Jordan trying to fight back through this hatch. Surely Electrify could rotate here and go for a red stairs landing side push, because looks like Giants, for Giants, that is a flaw, a hole gaping wide in their defense.
Trying a different fault, well, different style altogether here as well. Forget the downstairs, focus on the upstairs. So 3 versus 2 isn't the end of the world for them, but that means now they've got to deal with a bunch of fresh utility, fresh setup, more drone work coming out. Yes, they had the time to do so. They just put us down to about 30 seconds or so left, mind you, so they're going to have to be quick about this execute. You haven't got to worry about the Ella being anywhere near closet. They know where one of them is. If they can find where Jordan is, this should be easy as pie. They should know what to do, who is where, and what the plan is going to be. You can see him holding down now. Inside of sight, so backed away momentarily. So there's 2. They know exactly where they both are. This should be, like I say, relatively easy for them as long as they have utility left. But they've got to worry about the Wamai gadgets. Of course, you've got the 2 anti-grenade operators left at the very end. This is going to make things tough. One goes down. The second one does as well. Does the spray come through? No, it doesn't. But the pistol's back out. Goes for it and will find it. Massive round clutch from Giants there to close out the half.
A 2 versus 3 with 30 seconds to go, and you've got to commend the 2 players on site there, especially Jordan holding firm in Astro, and commend the utility usage as well. Those ADSs from the Jaeger and the magnets from the Wamai, as you mentioned, to prevent Electrify from destroying that deployable shield late in the round. On top of that, I want to credit the roamers from Giants. Now, you could say they got 2 picks and lost 3 in the process. Maybe that's a lost round on the roam, but no. They put their 2 remaining anchors in an advantageous position while they were in a numbers disadvantage. There were only 30 seconds for Electrify to go, and there was clearly not enough information gathering. I didn't quite see how many drones were on the board, but I think it's safe to assume not enough to fully support what Electrify needed to go with in those dying seconds, and definitely not enough utility to flush out those anchor positions, such as that deployable shield in Astro.
They had the drones on side, right? They had 2 or 3 left and a couple in the back pocket still. So I was like, okay, surely they can find out what's going on. And they did spot where the 2 players were, where they were playing, what the whole idea was, what the setup was. The one thing I don't think they accounted for was just how much utility had been held by those playing upstairs, the anchors. And this is sensible in my mind. You saw the Valkyrie at the start of the round, right? What was based around her? Nothing. No cameras, no barbed wire, no nothing. Just playing downstairs in the basement, looking to cause some trouble. So although it was a very operator-heavy roam, it wasn't in the way of utility. So a lot of that could be saved for the upstairs or for more critical positions. And ultimately, that was a downfall of Electrify in the bitter end of things. Giants now get to go on the attack, though. Let's see how their attack shapes up if it is a effective. If it's going to find itself lacking in the same ways that Electrify has, you would assume it's going to come out pretty strong, but looking at the lineup on the side of Electrify, I'm thinking Jaeger on the roam, you're going to see Mozzie on the roam, you've got a Vigil to go on the roam. They'll be trying to cause trouble like a lot of teams have been doing when they feel they don't want to let another team get too comfortable by roaming and just try and shut them down before anything can really come to fruition.
Another thing to keep in mind here, especially in particular with that Mozzie pick, is Giants' unusual operator ban of that mute. And Electrify, the ones going into this game, they wouldn't have been expecting that. And they're going to have to adopt the mute as a substitute. So Giants will have an easier time droning as if the mute was on the board as well. But that Mozzie will still only be able to jam up 3 doorways. And I don't know if you saw this, but Macy J tweeted out today, there's a cheeky little way you can actually get around Mozzie pests if they're not placed in a perfect way. Or you can kind of, because it's a sphere of influence, if you go on the side of the door where the Mozzie pest is not on and you jump over the radius, the sphere of influence of that Mozzie pest, you can actually dodge it and get through the doorway with your drone anyway. So definitely a lot less effective than the mute in this case, and Giants in theory will be able to roam clear more effectively because of it.
I guess the thing you might do then is maybe raise the Mozzie slightly up on the other side, right? So it's not like right against the floor, but it's halfway up the wall. I have seen a few players do it today, and I've kind of been like, why are they placing them so high? But now you've said that, it just kind of clicked in my head, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
I love it. You can play this game for 5,000 hours and still learn something every month. It's unbelievable.
I remember during EU Challenger League, Mika tweeted out at some point saying, I literally just found a new angle on Clubhouse today that I didn't know about before. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I've been playing for years and I've only just found this angle. It's insane.
That's why we all love this game.
10,000 ways to approach it.
That's it. The study push so far, 2 minutes have subsided, so not a lot of presence. Giants, a bit of a roam clear downstairs, but not a heavy roam clear as maybe I theorized. Looking to potentially just go for a study and brown stairs push, but we know how poorly that can work out. Ed has lost his deployable shield, so he's playing very dangerously. Bit of a flush out from Jordan with the breaching round on the floor beneath Ed. That'll flush him back onto the side, but just 40 seconds left. Giants better get a move on here on the execute.
It's one of them ones where it's becoming quite peaceful, but look at the drones on their side as well. Pretty much all of them dead, bar the ones that are on the field from the side of Speakeasy. I think Jordan just put his last one out as well. But think about the roamers here for the side of Electrify and their late round impact. This is exactly what I'm speaking about. It's Ray in a great spot to pick up Speakeasy. Can they find any more for this one? They've still got to try and get onto site here, and they're still worried about roamers and what they can achieve. Ray finds himself a double kill. One is traded back, though, onto triple list, so it's not the end of the world. But with about 10 seconds left in 3 versus 4, I don't see how this happens.
Ysera's got to force this plant down, but he's going for kills. Surely this isn't possible if Giants go for kills. Ysera finds one, but he's got to stick this plant. There's no time, and Electrify win the rounds on time, despite Giants successfully clearing the bomb site.
They did a really good job there as well, because they got control of Aviator for the most part, and I thought, okay, cool, surely they try and go for a door plant here, but maybe the fear stat was that smoke is a thing here, and if he manages to catch us out, then we are dead in the water, God knows, but I appreciate the effort of trying to clear things out and then go for a planet. It is one of the most effective ways you can do it, but leaving it just ever so slightly down to the wire there comes back to bite them. Going to find ourselves going now into Trophy and Stature in a very similar setup once again, coming out of the Defenders. It's all about those C4s. It's all about this downstairs play in this round, I feel. And no doubt for Giants, it is going to be a job to clear them out from downstairs, because in the last round, they left them alive and ignored, for just a little bit too long.
I do want to just flag the time management from Giants in that round. Not as great as I'd expected, to be honest. Like, with that mute ban, you'd think that if you're clearing roamers, you'd be able to do it pretty effectively. If you're droning out what utils on site, you'd be able to do that pretty effectively too. But there were 25 seconds left on the clock when the first pick came out. It was a 5v5 for 2.5 minutes out of the 3-minute action phase. Yep. And Electrify were the first ones to initiate a gunfight on the roam. And I know that Giants can do better than that.
It's kind of mad how they're sat inside a library, right, as well, just in a spot where it's like, well, I guess we just stay put because they aren't coming to threaten us right now. Like, Ray was literally sat watching the long hallway, watching down red hallway towards red stairs, like, okay, who's coming? No one's flanking me. I'm not getting killed here. It's 2.5 minutes in. Like, come on, guys. Checks his watch a little bit and realizes, actually, no, I'll sit and wait. And gets a free killer to try and push upstairs. So, slightly missed drone work there, dare I say, from the side of Giants. But we did touch on and say they were running out of intel there. They ran out of drones towards the end of the round. And this, again, is the sort of thing that we saw C9 doing against Q Confirm. If you're against a team that is generally more synergistic might not be the right word, but more reliant on things like strats and playing as kind of team play and communication and timing. If you deny intel away from them, it can really mess with your head when you don't have that intel to play off anymore. It's why G2, I believe in the past, Pengu was the one who said something along the lines of, a Nook is so difficult to play against because you can't rely on intel the way that you normally would. You have to rely entirely on who can see what with their actual physical character eyes rather than looking through a camera.
Speaking of cameras, a lot of util on the Electrify side for that information gathering game. In particular, we did see, nice job from Medics observing right in that prep phase. At the end of the prep phase, Ed threw out a good camera outside, so going to be able to see if Giants start to push from that heads window. You've also got the Mozzie and the Pulse for info gathering, all of which are really powerful, particularly that Pulse. Thank you, Medics. Got a hashtag thank you, Medics in chat. Can we make that hashtag trend, please, on Twitter?
Yeah. Here's the thing we'd say all the time whenever we used to do anything, was like, thank you, Medics, and thank you, Medics, and thank you, Medics. Every single player at SI was just like, Medics, we love you.
We do.
I mean, he could catch some wicked C4s or grenades in this game if any had actually landed, but we've seen so many C4s brought. I think we've seen one C4 kill, and it was from Giants in about round 3 or 4. It's been very quiet on the explosive kills front.
Yeah. Well, don't jinx it just yet. Ed and Flash still have some in the pocket, but Giants, there's a C4. Gets the injure onto Luna, actually.
That doesn't count.
It doesn't count? Surely it does. If they can secure this kill.
No, because
if they can secure this, surely it counts.
No, doesn't count.
Nothing happens. All right, I'll pay that one.
All right, 1 kill and 1 assist. It's on my little whiteboard now. We'll keep on chalking it up.
It's going to keep on peeking that super aggressively. In fact, peeking the Maverick holes as well. Ysera needs to be cautious, and Luna as well, low on HP. Pikachu takes a bit of damage. That's the kill that Ysera needed onto the smoke of all players. Perfect stuff, and Hysterics to jump on the bandwagon as well. 5 versus 3 now, with just under 45 seconds left. But here's the flank coming through from Triple Lift. That's another one that they need, but he's just him and Ed remaining for Electrify. All on those two to clutch this one out, but they're bringing it back.
This Red always an absolute terror. Hysterics in the same spot where the IQ died in the last round. This time around it was Ray finding, finding the kill rather than Ray. Sometimes it is more than enough though. It's a 2 versus 1, and surely they can look to go for a plant here, but do they know where Triple Lift is? The death of that drone will give it away to the team. The air jab goes off. This is definitely going to get stuck, and it's a 1 versus 2 for Triple Lift. There is a lot of work to do here. Sees the leg of 1. Down Ysera. It's a 1 versus 1, Dev.
Speakeasy needs to win this one. G8 in hand, such a good gun, and he takes the fight. Doesn't play passive, doesn't play for time. He's got the confidence, backs himself in the 1v1, taps the head, and that's Giants to go up 6-2.
Not too far away from the situation we were in the other day where you threw it to me for Citizens 1 versus 4 that it turned out to be. He was on the north side playing inside of Astro, pushing down through statuary, and did manage to find himself enough kills to close the round. Not quite the same case here for the side of Electrify. 5-3 things currently sit at. And despite this map generally being the ones you would lean to and say, you know, big map, lots of room for roamers, 3 staircases, it makes it a nightmare for attackers unless you can control people with things like nomads. Attackers are doing pretty well. Things are going okay as it stands so far for the side of Giants, and they're in a spot where I think if this carries on the way that it's been shown to go so far, this could end pretty quickly in the next couple of rounds.
It's possible. That said, Electrify did win 1 defense. I got a little bit overzealous there. I said 6-2. I said 6-2 because I had actually written that Giants won their attack on Aviator for some reason. It was a bit of a dirt moment, but hey, Electrify did get that one in the bag, and it was mostly because Giants were really slow, and Electrify played off of that really well. They didn't overpeak. They didn't expose themselves, but I mean, even that round right then, that was super close, right? Giants kind of exploded all at once. It's not like throughout most of that round, Giants were in the lead. They did get the opening pick, and I think taking out the smoke in Astro was a really pivotal moment for Giants on that round. Not actually playing the smoke this time, so an adaptation from Electrify. It's the Goyo instead. Potentially, that will even more expose any weakness from Giants in terms of time management, and also allow Pikachu to play more safely inside of Astro behind some actual hard cover that can't be shot through.
I do admire their commitment to the triple C4 as well. They're really trying to make it work. Bandits also being brought along in this round. Haven't really seen it brought along previously, but we've already seen the Maverick. The Maverick has been a thing for every single team whenever it's not banned, it feels like, because it is one of those operators with the hard breach that is just impossible to stop. But it's also impossible to stop Flash, who in a flash in this round, 20 seconds in, has found a kill onto Jordan. And the Ash will be taken away, and think about that utility that has been removed here. They maybe were looking for from below, as we've seen from them previously. It's simply not going to exist in this round.
Bring a new meaning to the phrase quick as a flash, and maybe Jordan not having quite the game that he was hoping for so far on his birthday here. 19 years old, but maybe I guess he's washed, right? As soon as you turn 19, you're washed. You can't tap heads. That's how it works, right?
Unless you're like 16, 17 years old, you're just not hopeful in this game. Like, that's it. You've gone past your peak, boys. You're only 18 once, and that is your year to peak. After that, you just watched the whole bet.
Sorry, guys. I have no idea how old Luna Metal is, but he's actually one of the oldest players in the game in Pro League. So I guess it shows that even. Well, that's why he's playing operators. Doesn't have to shoot people on, right? He just plays Nomad so he can air jet people.
Plays Monty so we can't be shot. Doesn't really require reactions.
Exactly.
Poor guy.
Oh, poor Glenn. So, a reattempt at this defense, and Electrify once again playing fairly passively. I mean, aside from that early peak, right? They're deciding, okay, look, we know Giants can stall out a little bit. Happened earlier, so we're not going to over peak here. We're going to make Giants be their own worst enemy, and then the clock being their second worst.
Painful because it's not even a 5 versus 5 like it was previously. As you say, that clock becomes their worst enemy. The more it runs down and the slower they are. They are starting to look towards Mappa here. And in fact, Valk's tucked in a really awkward spot, I was going to say, where she's pinned in this back corner. But actually, she's like, I'm not stuck in this corner with you. You're stuck in here with me and trying to kill through that Maverick hole. And that's the Maverick done and dusted as well. So, I don't know. It's in a spot. Actually, I'm completely not a liar. I thought he killed him, but I was like, what am I looking at here? Why is Triple Lift dead? Totally missed it. It was the other way around. My bad. I saw bullets fly and I assumed someone died.
Yeah, some people die in hysterics. Is maybe getting a bit of confidence back. He's typically a nuts player, but had a lot of early deaths in the first half. Luna to find one, proving us wrong there. Age doesn't matter, it seems, and looking to peek on through. That is that essential pick on the Pikachu that we saw come out last round from Ysera, but Ray to fight back here. And Flash eager, ready and waiting for someone to push in through Astro. Dodges that drone as well, and Ed to find another, peeking aggressively here. All on Speakeasy now in the one-on-one, but he makes it happen with a 3K. Insane.
Just didn't anticipate him jumping in through Wolf window there. Incredible timing, because both were facing the wrong way, looking instead out towards Master Bedroom, where there was a lot of focus coming in from the attackers. And that is the kind of coordination and synergy that you will build up over time playing this game with a team, is you'll know how things work. Someone calls go and you know exactly what you've got to do and when. Beautiful execution there at the bitter end from Giants. They are now at match point, and it's a long road to recovery for Electrify. However, we've seen them do this once before. They were 5-1 down against Scars just a couple of days ago and managed to bring it all the way back through to a victory. It's hard pressed to say that they can't do it again.
Never count them out. You can't ever count him out. Luna Metal, like I was mentioning earlier at the start of this cast, he tweeted out yesterday, I thought we were the kings of recovery after throws, but Electrify is the real deal. A lot of respect for Electrify here from Giants, and well, Electrify got to feel like maybe they're having a bit of, you know that feeling when you're talking to one of your celebrity idols, and you kind of feel a little bit nervous? Well, Electrify coming up against one of the oldest teams in APAC. No doubt that they've looked up to season after season as they top the Southeast Asia Pro League, the APAC Pro League, heading over to international events. And Electrify need to get over maybe that fear and come back here like they did against Scars. We know it's possible. They have to believe it too.
Belief goes a long way. Like, you look at some teams and they'll tell you about mentality. It's the one thing that I remember taking away from a few chats with Team Secret, is that they can be 6-0 down and they can still have a lot of self-belief and know that games can go from 6-0 to 6-6 in the craziest of ways. Look back at one of the games that everyone regards as one of the best in the world, SI 2018 in the grand final. The swing back that no one came to expect. The way these reverse sweeps can work out. Even this year with SSG versus NIP. NIP were in the lead up until the third map. They were 2-0 up halfway through Clubhouse, and something clicked. You could see the exact round when the mentality changed, and they even said themselves after the game, well, we just mentally boomed. We lost it. The communication felt quiet. Everything started slipping away. These things can really bleed into your gameplay. So some bit of belief here from Electrify could carry them a long way.
Belief here for Pikachu on this run out. Doesn't find anything. Gets spotted though. That's crucial there. Giants know where that player is now and knows that Vigil's off site in the 5v5 still, but Ed getting fully flashed out at top brown stairs. Giants have plenty of soft breach and explosive utility to clear out that shield. Another flash goes over to, once again, to chew that ADS. But Ed still persevering here. He still has his shield. Yes, Hysterics to find that opening kill. That's Pikachu.
Oh,
a
no.
missed explosion, though. Hysterics gets the kill nonetheless. Jeremy's turned it on, and now in a 5 versus 3, Giants look like they could make this happen.
It pains you when you're sat behind a shield like that, and you can use the shield to do the peeking for you without any risk, but instead you let yourself get peeked on by a Zofia, and Hysterics has found 2 massive kills in towards the south side. This gives them control of South 90, it gives the control of Study, and now they can get to work on opening up this little box that we spoke about before, so you can cut in half this room that turns out to be games, and if they can get this under their control, they can force the player up from behind the bar. Suddenly things don't look so sweet, but Triple Lift equally has found a double kill in this round for himself. It is some heavy lifting to do, but Hysterics equally is saying, you know what, Triple Lift, how about a triple kill? 3 for me in this round, 3 versus 2, and Giants have got 70 seconds left to work with here. It feels like a long time for Electrify to hold on.
At a deficit like this, that's when you need to get aggressive, but Flash can't. He wants to into Study, but there's an air jab to block his way. Flash and Ray to clutch this out. We know Ray in particular, he's so good, but Hysterics is going to make an opening here for Ysera, diving into the bomb site. He can get the plant down this time, starting to push it up, but Ray to find the kill onto Hysterics. The man shut down. Ray looking for a second, but Ysera is going to stick that diffuser. Ray knows that the player is right there. Flashbang comes out. Ysera times the peak perfectly. Flash, fully Flash now in the 1 versus 2. The air jab goes out. Ysera, can he hold this down? Gets taken out there on the injure. It's a 1v1. All on Luna to hold this, but Flash staring down match point. Can the captain hold the line on the classical hallway? Flash has no idea. Luna Metal's gonna peek it and take Giants the victory here. 2-0 up so far in the APAC North League.
You can see why getting that games wall open is so critical there, as we've seen a couple of times in this fixture. It gives you full control of the bar area and makes it safe to plant in from the south of 90. But I think Electrify once again made a fair case of themselves here. Coming into this, no one had a clue where they were. They merged with Team Notorious, the 7th Heaven, to form into this team that we now see. And given how they went a couple of days ago, given how today is played, look at Triple Lift and Ray. Brilliant game from them. There's a lot of promise in this team, actually. I'm really glad to see them stacking up with some of the best, as this, again, is one of the best teams that we see in the region, and they're definitely making sure that everybody knows who they are.
3-7 is definitely a scoreline to be proud of for the underdogs here from Chinese Taipei. Let's see what the analysts had to say about this one. You take it away, Milosh.
Thank you so much, boys. Yes, we're back, and